Go through this again with you. So basically what I am doing is if I'm taking my months, okay? So I've got January, February, March, April, May, June, July, and I'm not going to go on. Let's just start here. Okay, so I gave my months a code, okay? Because if you look at the question itself, they give you stuff in a code. Where is my question? Like this. Can you, okay, that's not the question, like this. Can you see they tell you our debtors we receive 20% in the month of sale, meaning if I had credit sales in March, 20% of the debtors that bought in March is going to pay me in March. That's what it means. 60% after 30 days, meaning they're going to pay me next month. Okay? 16% after 60 days, meaning they're going to pay me 2 months after. So now what I do is I work a code for myself. So let's not get confused. Where's the paper I just had? Who took it? This one. I think I'm lost. So what I do, please listen. What I do is I make the month of the transaction my base month, meaning 0. This is 0.0. So transactions that happens in January, means January is 0. Okay, you get it? The month following January is February. 2 months following January is March. 3 months following January is April. You see that? So that's the first one. So now when I get in February, the credit sales is most now happening in February. So now February becomes month 0. March follows it, April follow, May follow. You start to get what I'm saying. So in other words, let's make it easy. I say to you, in month 0, we receive 50%. In month 1 month following, we receive 40%. In second month following, we receive 10%. Let's say it's something like that. Then it means here in January, from the January credit sales, 50% of the debtors are going to pay me. From the January credit sales, 40% is going to pay me in February. From the January credit sales, 10% is going to pay me in March. Remember, I need to budget for cash that I'm going to receive. And I know when people buy on credit from me, I give them 3 months. So they are not going to take, all of them are not going to pay me at the same time. Okay? Which means credit sales for February, in February 50% of the people will pay me. March 40% will pay me. April 10% will pay me. You get what I'm doing here? So if I'm looking at February, can you see in February I'm going to receive 40% of the credit sales in January and 50% of the credit sales in February. That's why I make it a schedule. You understand that? Yes.
So like in February, you receive 40% of January's one and 50% of
Yeah. And it will go even more. Say I start March. So now I say March, the transactions happens in March, so it's ground 0. April is 1 month, May is 2 months, June is 3 months. So now let's say it's like this then. 50, 40, 10. Can you now see in March, I'm going to receive money from people who bought in January, money from people who bought in February, and money from people who bought in March. This is how I budget. And this schedule, you don't have to calculate the schedule. The schedule will be given to you because that's what the clever maths people will do. They're going to look at how do people behave over a period of time. And they're going to set up a schedule like this. Okay, yes.
So what about the people that bought last year December? Wouldn't they also fall under January?
No.
Why?
People who bought last year December.
Yes.
No, December would then be ground zero.
Yeah, but then wouldn't it fall also in the...
Yeah, then in January they'll get 40%. Okay, so that is why when we look at the schedules, if I can find it, if I look at the schedules, can you see 20, 60, 18, 2? We are also budgeting for people to not pay. Can you see? That 2% is bad debt. In other words, I only budget to receive 98% in this case. Can you see that? And will I show that bad debt in the cash budget? No, because it's not cash. I will show it in the income statement budget. But we don't call it an income statement budget, we call it a projected income statement. Okay, so I can only write off people if I've gone through the whole schedule. Month 0, 1, 2. Sometimes they start with month 1, 2, 3. When will that be? When will I start on month 1 and not month 0? That would be when my debtors do not pay me in the same month that they buy. They only start paying the month following. In other words, if January is 0, month 0, they will only start paying in February, March, April. It all depends on how you do your budget. Is everybody sharp? You understand the 0 ones? You're going to see later on it's going to make your life easier because can you see there's a pattern? I want you to see the pattern. Can you see the pattern? Okay, so let's try this one again. So now, if I look, I have shown February, March, April, May. Okay, and don't worry about this. In the homework you have to write it in yourself, but in a test they actually give it to you. Okay, so I've got February, March, April, May. Okay, my schedule says 0, 1, 2. In 0 we get 20% less 5% discount. 1 month following 60, 2 months following 18. So let's start February. Can you see February is month 0? It's the month it happened. March 1, April 2. So in February we're going to do the 20 less 5. March will be 60, April will be 18. Does that make sense to you? So now if I go here, can you see there's February? I only start budgeting in April. Now if I look here, April is 18%. You guys see that? So in other words, 29.5 times 18% gives me April. Am I going to receive anything in May? No, because February, March, April is the only ones on the schedule. In May, what happens in the 4th month? What do they say? In the 4th month, oh, I keep showing the wrong things. In the 4th month, we're going to write off bad debt. So in other words, if I get to May, I'm going to 2% it in the income statement. Okay, so there's a 0. So now I start with March. If I look at March, so now March is 0, April 1, May 2. Okay, so March is 20 less 5, April is 60, May is 18. You see that? So if I go here, March, April is going to be 60%. So I'm going to say 32.5 times 60% and 32.5 times 18. Because this is 60 and this is 18. You guys with me? Starting to get it? Not really? Okay, let's start again. So the 32,500 times 60% gives me, and times 18%, okay. Will you be comfortable if I start numbering here instead of having to go back here? Let's try. So April is 0. Can you see here's April and there's April. So April is 0. May is 1. Okay. What happens in month 0? Month 0, 20% of the people pay, and for the 20% I give a 5% discount. Okay, so how will I do that? I'm going to do April here. So I'm going to say 28,500. 20% of the people are going to pay, and we're going to give them a 5% discount, meaning we only budget for 95% of what they owe me. So everybody shop with that. The 95 I got through saying 100 less 5% discount. Remember, we receive 100% of this less 5% discount. It's like this. If I look at all of you in the class, I say, from all of you, 7 is going to be paying on time. And for that 7, can you see that 7 is then my 100% that's going to pay on time. I'm going to get a 5% discount. That's how it works. Okay? So what is that? Anybody?
415.
And the 60%? Oh, it's very quiet now. 17,100. Now, can you see May? We can't receive anything in April, ne? But May and May, can you see now 2 months the same, it's 0. I want you to try this. I know you are writing tomorrow, but just try it. It will take you 2 seconds.